Why don't you share your background and what led you to starting Human Predictions for us?
Sure. Thank you. My background is a little funny. In recruiting, it's kind of the anomaly. Recruiting, the joke is always, how did you fall into recruiting? For me specifically, I was kind of born into it. Growing up, my dad ran his executive search business out of the basement of our house. My mom was in recruiting. She worked at an agency called Select Staffing that she helped build. So I grew up around recruiting. I was always pretty entrepreneurial as a kid, with different, selling Pokémon cards, selling skateboard stickers. I was always trying to hustle and make money. And so started working for my dad in high school doing data entry for his recruiting business. At the time, he was rolling out his first applicant tracking system. So I was literally putting paper resumes into his first ATS. But as a kid that grew up around computers, his recruiting business was very phone heavy. And so I went from doing data entry to actually learning some sourcing, and really just how to write some Boolean searches and start tapping into things like LinkedIn, which were pretty new, but to find candidates. And so while in high school, it was just a job, for me to have some spending money, but I did learn how recruiting worked. And as a kid that didn't love school, but was very willing to work and hop on the phones, I was very interested of like, that's what recruiting is. You just really hop on the phones and call people. And so I started recruiting with him in high school. My parents forced me to go to community college, but while in community college, I started doing some of my own recruiting, got a few contingent searches, and was able to place a Drupal developer with a company called Spine Health, that is now called Veritas Health. I think they're still around and doing well. They're out in Deerfield, but placed a Drupal developer with them. And when I got paid for that, my parents gave me their blessing to take a year off of school. I didn't go back to school. And so I jumped into the tech community in Chicago at 18, and right off the bat felt like there was some really cool opportunities. The main one being a bunch of the first tech people I met essentially all told me that tech people don't really like recruiters, and that recruiters were kind of the used car salesmen of the tech industry. But with bright eyes as a kid, I'm like, that seems like a great opportunity. I won't be that. And so most of my career has just been bounced around the tech community, but at 18, just really leaned in and started making some friends. And that led to realizing that, hey, the bottleneck is good engineers. It's not people who need them. And that really formed early on for me, what has kind of become my brand in town, which is I want to be an agent for the tech people. All the tech companies need really the same thing, but the hard part is finding the tech people. And so anyways, early on, kind of noticed that and started branding myself as more of a talent agent for programmers than a recruiter. And that has been most of my background in Chicago is helping engineers move around.